Lego. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of DM Talks. I'm your host Sarah DM, and this is my gorgeous, amazing guest, Joseph. I'm going to bring and introduce you in a second, but let me introduce the show before I get so excited. DM Talks is a podcast that aims to promote well-being and assist healing, whether that be physically, mentally, or spiritually. Ultimately, we just want to be seen in our entirety, and this podcast hopes to show listeners how multifaceted they are. We're all at the centre of our own universe, so why don't we do more to better our own existence?
Well, hey. I love it.
I honestly, hearing you say I love it makes me love it more. People don't realise how gassed I am for this episode, because this is my bestie. This is you are literally my OG. You are my OG.
Honestly, Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I know I said it on the little mini episode, but this has been a long time coming, and I'm buzzing to be here.
Literally, I woke up today and I was like, oh, I get to speak to Joe today.
Yes, honestly, I was like, forget the podcast. I literally just want to be chatting with Sarah. I've got her presence in my life now. I'm happy. I'm done.
Oh, no,
and the podcast, the cherry on top.
No, that means so much to me. I need to introduce you. The person who's a guest today, they are a man of many wisdoms. They are gentle, they are humble, they are honest, they are brave, they are cool, they are a baddie in their form, they're educated, they're intellectual. It is my bestie, it's Joseph H.
Oh, God, Sarah, I'm going to literally voice note that and have that as my ringtone.
Do it. Honey, I'll send you voice notes. You know how it is. I need to share this love. I need to share this light. I've known Joe since I was in reception.
Oh, gosh, where have those years gone, Sarah? Oh, that's 20 years. 20 years we worked out.
20 years. Wow.
That's mad.
Grown. Oh, God, adulting. How are you doing?
To 20 more, please. To
20 more. To 20 more and forever, bitch. I love it. I love it.
Come on.
How have you been today? How's your Sunday treating you?
Do you know, if I'm honest, I woke up and I saw that it was grey and it was gloomy, and I was like, I cannot with this. I think I'd actually forgotten how grey and dark the UK can be. When we have what feels like two minutes of light during the winter months. But actually now the sun has come out and the blue skies are here, and I do feel 10 times better. Yeah. And I'm sat on a podcast with one of my best friends. I can't complain.
Oh my God. No, I know what you mean. I think I've got a different relationship with that, just because, well, I live in Manchester. It's gloomy and rainy a lot, but it's what you make do with the gloominess. Because
100%.
I was saying this to my housemate. It's I can't complain it's raining loads today, I can't do this. Honey, I live in Manchester, I just need to get with it. But also it can have such a influence on your temperament. So I think it is a motivation to get out of the house quicker, or it gives you sort of a time limit of an unwritten time limit on what you want to do, because it could be 3:00, you want to get out of the house, and then it's dark in an hour.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, whereas in summer you're like, oh, do you know what, I've got hours. I don't need to stress about that. And you end up doing something at 7, 8 o'clock, whereas in the winter, come 4 o'clock and it feels like it's midnight. So you do have to be cracking on, don't you?
No, for sure. Amazing. And I'm going to take that straight into the first segment. Ooh.
Fab. Here we go.
The first segment is the divine, and this is the section of the podcast to shine a light on a good thing that could be associated with a product, a new book, anything and everything. What would you like to nominate for the divine this week, Joe?
So I'm kind of referring to my notes as I do this.
To your notes, G.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the product that I wanted to kind of big up was the gua sha. I don't know if you've heard of this. I probably should have brought it along, but I don't have it with me. And basically, it's this stone. I definitely did not go for the proper version, so it's not crystal-based or anything like this.
Okay.
But basically, it's shaped in a way that it fits the structure of your face.
I'm Googling it now.
Yeah, have a Google. Yes, I know.
You can get it in jade. You can get it in jade.
That's it. That was a stone. You can get it in jade. And the sentence is, it's a natural alternative therapy that involves scraping your skin with a massage tool to improve circulation.
Oh.
So basically...
And rose quartz, wow.
Yeah, I love it because it feels amazing. It's really good for like the muscles in your face. Apparently it kind of tones and it keeps you, you know, your skin glowing, whatever. But also because I love a routine. I've really factored it into my routine and it feels like it's embedded self-care in my daily routine.
Yeah, I get
because
it.
I'm literally like, oh, I'll just do my gua sha. And I'm like, oh, I feel so relaxed. So that's why I honestly would recommend it to anyone. And anyone that I've literally done it on for 5 seconds, they're like, sign me up.
Honey,
this feels incredible.
I'm all about skincare and I'm all about crystals. So you know that is straight in my Etsy basket, 100%.
Please.
No, I really love that. And embedded into self-care, it's really interesting because it's something that you could do in the morning or in the evening that can help you like form routine, therefore stability. And that's what we want, you know? Amazing. That was such a great nomination.
Thank you.
For this week's nomination, I got inspiration from David Attenborough because I used to watch him so much in university, like with a group of people. It's like, oh, who has a projector? There's a new fucking blue planet. Let's all watch it. Do you know what I mean? It was great.
Yeah.
And have you watched his recent documentary?
I haven't, no.
Oh, Joe, it's so good. It's so good. He literally so it's called A Life on Our Planet, and it follows a series of images, films, it's his life basically over. Sorry, I got to stop there. So, for the Divine, I would like to nominate A Life on Our Planet, the recent David Attenborough documentary, because it was just so insightful. It collected, it showed a collection of films and photographs of his life, but also the environment and also some places that he'd been before and what they look like now. And I think it was very, like, awakening in the sense of... understanding the implications and the impacts of climate change in a practical level, because some people might know that eating less meat will help the environment, but they don't know how, so they might just ignore it. Or some people might not know, even like to do with recycling, you know, there's so many little things that were shown in this documentary that I think was so helpful. And I think it's definitely not like, I think everyone should watch it. Like, that's how much I back it, because it's like, yes, we need to stop eating more meat. Yes, we need to look after our planet. But how are we going to do that? David Attenborough has literally shown you... He even showed you, like, what's the Earth going to look like in 100 years' time. And that shit shook me.
It's scary. I can imagine. It really
shook me. So I was just like, nah. Like, I mean, I'm pretty good already, but I need to be better. And I hope that energy can be translated to more people. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, give it a watch.
Yeah, I need to give it a go. No, I love that idea, because there's so many things that I do that I'm like, oh, well, I just know I should be doing this, like recycling and, you know, cutting down on waste. But actually, it can be helpful to know why you're doing it what benefit that is. So, yeah, I'll give that a go. Sure. Love David Attenborough.
No, he is a cutie, isn't he? And it's just like, I think because it's coming with him, who is so humble and so grounded, it gives you a different sort of relation to the film. Like, sometimes, like, I know for a fact, when I used to live with people who were like talking to me about veganism with a shock factor and ignoring that their white privilege in veganism, I just switched it off. But then when I like understood that, oh no, vegan, like, this way of eating is actually so beneficial to your health and to the world, then I gave it a go. Well, no, not saying that, because I'm not a vegan, but like I don't eat meat, and I just eat like more plant-based, but vegan is really strict.
Yeah.
I try my best. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think that's really all you can do, because sometimes things just don't feel feasible. But if you're putting the effort into it and you understand the motives behind that and they're well intended, then go you know. No, you're right. And, what a lovely way to end the segment. That's such beautiful. I love that section.
Do you know what I mean? It's the Divine, baby. We're trying to give you light. We're trying to show you radiance. That takes us to our next segment, and that is called Decoding the Messes, where we want to unpack something that we consider mess. In the spirit of education and this episode, which is called Save the Student, we want to talk about the lessons that we would have wanted to know before we went to uni. And the first lesson is working smart, not hard. And yeah, what do you have to say about that, Joe?
Okay, so working smart, not working hard is definitely, well, to me, okay, I guess I'll kind of summarise what I've taken from that. And I think there's so much kind of put out there that symbolises what we think looks like hard work. And for me, I had this idea that I wasn't working hard unless I was sat in the library for 12 hours and reading every single paper and, you know, being 2 weeks before the deadline, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, and that was something I really fed into for many years, and I still struggle with that actually, like this idea that I need to be doing these things and seem to be working hard, otherwise I just won't do as well. Like for me, it was like, unless I was physically exhausted and I'd read every single paper around the topic,
oh my God,
I wasn't working hard enough.
Yeah.
And it's still something I struggle with. I still kind of get like that. Whereas actually now, what I see it as is doing things that will actually benefit you and get you to the stage that you need to get to. And that doesn't mean having to do everything. It's about prioritising and whittling it down to actually what you need to do to move forwards, really.
Yeah. All like I was just taken back by that because I'm like, you're right. Done.
Yeah.
Solved. Like because
Solved.
Sold. I'll take 2. Effort and patience. That really resonates with me because I mean that must resonate with so many students. Like we've got this fat ass library that you can't even get a fucking seat in past 12 or past 11 a.m. because everybody's in there. And you put pressure on yourself because you're not working effectively. But how are you not working effectively if you're comparing it by other people's metric? That's nothing to do with you. Like, you need to prioritize what you need for your own well-being, but also what the assignment is asking for. I think when we read, we can get an overload of information that makes us burn out. And especially like, I know for me anyway, I came to uni with not the most, I was confident, but not in some things. So I know that I lacked confidence in the way that I portrayed myself in a professional setting. So let's say like you're getting all these papers with all these words that you don't understand, and it's like, am I dumb, or is it the fact that these words are just not accessible, you know? And then you're at a library with everybody who's got their heads in their books. That's not going to be good to compare yourself to, you know?
Of course. Yeah, no, Again, I really relate to that idea of like, it is about comparing yourself to other people and seeing what they're doing and thinking, well, that's what I need to do in order to be doing well, when actually you need to do what's right for you. A mantra, I guess you could call it, that I've been hearing a lot in kind of like the academic world at the minute is like the good enough mantra, which I really love. Like, whereas before, it would always be this thing of like, you need to be perfect and your work needs to be perfect and everything needs to be exactly how it's supposed to be. Now there's a big push of saying, well, it's good enough. You are a good enough essay writer. You are a good enough academic. So yeah, whilst it's not perfect, are you ticking the boxes? Yes, you are.
Yes.
Did you get there the same way as everybody else? Maybe not. But actually the end result, you know?
Do you know what I just remembered? When we had a phone call, me and Joe, we both did psychology, and I went up to Joe and I was telling him, I was like, so I'm stressed because now I'm writing, but my advisor's telling me that I'm not writing like a psychologist. And I was just like, but how? How the fuck do I write more like a psychologist? And you were like, Joe, Sarah, I get it. They're like, do I need to use these keywords? Do I need to use that?
Honestly.
Like, I'm confused.
Honestly, it is that whole thing, isn't it, of like trying to fit everybody's style and satisfy what every marker wants. And it can be really, really hard.
Especially if they're saying to you that you need to write something. So if someone was unaware of this information, they would be able to get something out of it. They would be able to understand it, and they would be able to take something from it. But unfortunately, that's not how it's come across. And it's like, it's like a brain fart.
One thing that I found really helpful for that, and because this is a thing, like I remember I would always ask other students for tips and stuff, like how can I actually be better and make things seem a little bit more doable rather than as stressful as they were. So I always try and think of actual tangible tips that I can give people. One thing is when I finish an essay or a report or something, I'll use the read aloud function on my laptop.
Okay.
And actually the laptop will just read out my essay to me rather than me scrolling through it. And that's when I'm like, Joe, that sentence does not even sound like a human speaking. No one's going to blimmin' understand that. And it really points out to you all the things that you're just like, way too wordy, way too this, way too that. And that was something I found really helpful, especially after those days when you're absolutely shattered and you don't want to have to read another document. Just pop it on your laptop, read aloud.
No, definitely. That's such
one
a
way
good
I found
tip.
really helpful.
Like,
Yeah.
I definitely think that tip is so practical, and especially like, you're introducing something in a different stimuli. So if you're repeatedly looking at a source of information, now the fact that it's reading aloud is going to activate different senses, and therefore I'm going to I'm going to absorb this information differently. Do you remember in psychology when we had to learn about mnemonics? Was it mnemonics? Mnemonics.
Oh, yeah. Mnemonics, yes. Yeah.
So I'd
like
always...
ways that you can kind of like help your memory and assist it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And like that was another thing that always shouted out to me. Even though I can't say the word properly, Joe can repeat for me again.
Mnemonics. It is to be fair to Sarah, it is the most randomly spelt word. There's like a billion M's, 15 N's. I'm like, what?
MNENOMIC, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It was one of the first things that I learned in like cognition and psychology, and it was to do with how we can use our memory or use techniques in our memory to help us understand things. So I always remember one that stuck out to me, like using if I said Richard gave battle in vain. That was for... Oh, now it's off my head, you know. It's got the... Richard gave battle in vain. No, it's not.
Wasn't it Richard of York gave battle in vain? And wasn't that for the rainbow colours?
There you go.
Yes!
Do you know what? It's so funny because it's like the memory that was like, oh, how is it going to push me? How is it going to ride me? And then you were able to get it from what I said. So
yeah, literally. You were my mnemonic there, Sarah.
Oh, stop. You're making me blush.
You are my memory aid.
I wish I could say the same for me, my love. I have to note everything down. I'm a writer. I write everything down. It's like when I write it, it's quite cathartic. It's like as I write, it comes into me.
Well, isn't that I think, again, that's something that's really helpful to take away, is like knowing which ways you learn best. Yeah. What kind of information you're best able to process. So whether it's written or verbal, whatever.
What kind of learner are you?
It's I don't even know what these sounds are. I think that's like ultimate confusion. I think I would say it's probably visual. Mm-hmm. And if I can see something in a video format as well, even better.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a YouTube video.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Do you know what? You're so right. I remember when I was learning about communication in healthcare, and this subject is so interesting to me, but honestly, it felt like my brain was zapped. It felt like my lecturer was taking me on a maze that was Bandersnatch. Like, it was awful. And I was able to sort of get A3 pieces of paper and talk about the subjectivities of communication, but with pathways and with arrows, and even seeing that visual expression of how this needs to make this effective, it needs to reach some significance in this to move on to this pathway. And it's like your brain is like, all the lines that are going in your brain are getting bolder and bolder and bolder to the point where, like, it's so insightful that it's giving you a new timeline. It's giving you a new way of thinking, which is really, really helpful. So I guess visual learning for me, I'd say,
is a big one for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No. I was just thinking that there was one other thing that I kind of was thinking about when you mentioned that we were going to do this section of like working smart, not working hard. I don't know if you ever use like kind of like a referencing software, but honestly, I only used it in my final year. I used one called Mendeley, but there's loads like EndNote, and they basically just save the papers that you're reading as you go and embed your references as you go, rather than you having to do it.
Amazing.
Honestly, why did I not do that from the outset? If there's a student going into university listening, like, please download a referencing software manager because it will save you hours upon hours in life. Like,
Referencing
please.
software manager. No, definitely. I remember I used to use APA and that used to stress me out. Like,
Yeah.
Well, no, I used to use APA referencing. However, I remember I would be like, is this wrong? Is this wrong? And I'd be following like certain like magazines and certain like going on the actual site to make sure I was doing it right. And all of that was just long. If I used the software, bang tidy.
Exactly. It's always good to double check, but just to have it kind of tick it off and be like, do you know what? I don't have to worry about that until the last hour before I submit. Like, it's such a help.
No,
such
for
a help.
sure. I'm just cautious because it says that less than a minute to for the Zoom, so I'm gonna end the episode and then call you back. Hello.
Hello. So we
back,
are back,
y'all. We back.
We are back.
Where were we? What did we get up to? You said that you like
The referencing software.
And it's just so necessary because you're referencing that is literally half of your fucking uni experience.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. Literally tell me about it.
The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about in decoding the messes is, I guess it's not that very relatable anymore just because of the pandemic, which I will go into in a second. But my next point prior to recording this episode, which Freshers Week does not have to be the best week of your life.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it.
It really, really, really doesn't. Like, maybe we're talking from a place of privilege now because we actually had a Freshers Week, so maybe we should just be grateful. Maybe, like, it's quite interesting because I'm not sure if you've been following on, but the way that Manchester students have been dealt with is, I mean, all students in general, I'm not going to make it like geographical discriminative, do you know what I mean? All students this year have been fucked with, like heavy. But I used to stay in Oak House, right? And now they've put fences around the accommodation and there was a protest at these gates because they were caged in. They were locked like animals.
Oh, wow.
And there was like people were letting off smoke bombs and stuff. People were having arguments with security. It's crazy because it's like everyone's paying $9,000 a term to be treated like an animal. Like, that's not okay. And it's not fair for the government to have sent all of these individuals to uni just because they wanted their money. Like, these individuals, regardless of their they are vulnerable to so many things, let alone the pandemic, you know. They are vulnerable, like mental health spikes up at university, sort of professionalism spikes up at university, so many things related to Tao within practicality and also in your mental realm can influence how you navigate this space, because it is a massive space. It's a melting pot, and I think that's one thing I also wanted to remember. Like, it's a melting pot of different people, different experiences. Everybody comes with their own shit, with their own baggage, and because you don't have the privilege of being with these people 24/7 or knowing these people's histories, you take them at face value, and that can be very, very disharming. Like, one lesson that I would have taught myself is, bloody trust your intuition. Freshers, it wasn't that great, but also be mindful of what I allow myself into. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's so important what you said about the idea that going to university, be it within a pandemic, outside of a pandemic, is a massive change. And I think it's really nice that you said about the whole element of privilege and recognising that actually the things that will be protective factors, things that help you kind of keep your mental health on track and better, things like socialising, going to the gym, going for walks, all this stuff, have been taken away from these students, and they're not as readily available. So I can imagine that it's even, you know, there's so many more factors in place at the minute that are going to make it harder to maintain good mental health. I think what I would say, and again, recognising that I was privileged enough to have a Freshers Week, but what I do want to say is that the friends that I made for life were not during Freshers Week. I met incredible people, but truly the best times of my life were not until later on in my university career, if we want to call it that.
Yeah.
So
that was
it is, yeah.
Of what you study to function. Like, I could be doing retail management, or you could be doing psychology. Like, regardless, it's my career. I'm shaping my career. I'm cultivating what I want next.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think, if we can give any hope to students that are going in during these strange times, is that, yeah, okay, you might not have had the normal freshers, but that's okay, because you've got years left still. And and potentially the fact that you're having to get to know people on kind of a more personal level might set you up in a way that actually it's not just based on drunken nights out. You're actually getting to know people. There's pros and cons to both, but I think it's helpful to hold in mind.
I love how you were able to put that spin on it, because I think for other people that would be really, they couldn't land there, and the fact it's like, you are right, maybe the fact that I have been able to spend more time talking to people instead of talking about the next event, talking about what I'm dressing as, talking about if I know this person to get me to this house party, all of the weird sort of social protocol of university sort of gets taken away. It's quite interesting, because it's like now, because of the pandemic, because of like how the institutions and how the government has handled it was so badly, it's like a common goal, it's like a common enemy, and it's like, right, we're all students together, everything's shit, but let's make sure that our environment, our safety and our well-being is going to be heightened. We want to be happy with it.
Yeah. So, and I can, that is so true. That's all I'm thinking, is that all these risk factors for like having a bit of a wobble, having a hard time, struggling at university are going to be heightened at the minute.
Yeah.
So the kind of take home message that I want to say is, actually, Freshers Week isn't the be all and end all. Just because you haven't had the best freshers doesn't mean that your whole university life is going to be a complete write-off, because you've got plenty of incredible times and memories to come. So just kind of hold on to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, I went to my first Freshers Week, and like, because it was first year, and like I personally was navigating on what I ought to do and what I not actually doing what I want to do. So like, some things, yeah, they were sick, but some things I was just doing it because I was following the crowd.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, God.
Sarah, we don't want to lose you.
3 weeks later, Sarah's gone because of Corona. No, I'm joking. Don't say that. God forbid. I'll edit that out. But basically, I mean, what I meant to say is that first year I went to my freshers because I thought I was navigating in things that I'd ought to do. Second year, I literally went out one night. Third year, I didn't even go out because I was just so bored, and I was so disappointed at the sort of social element of uni in a way that it just cringed me out. So like, me going around my friend's house having dinner is so much more enjoyable to me to then going to an event where I might have fun for an hour but then be cold and want to go home.
Yeah, I see that. I think that is the thing. I think as you go forward, you'll kind of realise what socialising works for you. Whereas I think generally during freshers, it's this whole idea of like, well, I need to go out. I'm supposed to be loving my life going out. Personally, I did really enjoy that. But I know many people that for them, you know, they did it during freshers, but they didn't go back to a club ever since, and they don't regret it because that's just not what they want to do. They, like you said, they want to go for a meal, they want to have drinks in a pub, or not drink at all. You know, some people, they just want to go, you know, meet up with a friend and watch films or go for a walk. Like, it's fine. So just because you can't go out isn't the end of, you know, isn't the end of the world in terms of having fun and being able to have a good time. Although I do recognise that the difficult thing about this year is that there isn't the choice there, which I think is unfair.
Even now that we're talking about it, we have to talk about it like we're sort of stepping on quite finely, because it's like we had the privilege of having the opportunity to go out, having the choice to stay in, but also we weren't being policed, and not to the extent of what people are going through now. Like, the fact that this pandemic has exposed a lot of atrocities, right, in the world, but how that has been influenced to police students is another level. Like, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, all these children, not even, they might even use these people as young adults, right? All these young adults that are socializing with people, drinking, meeting up, etc. They're going to look down at those compared to the other people that are in higher places of power that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard times, isn't it? And all I can hope is that no matter where people are, be they at uni or outside of uni, they've got friends going there, that they're able to kind of find ways of managing and still getting that release and connection with other people. In a way that's helping them, because it's strange living times for everyone.
Yeah.
And we just, sorry, Sarah.
No, keep on going. Say it with chest. Go on. I keep on interrupting you.
No, not at all. No, I think, that was kind of just the takeaway, really, that, like, everything I've said, I do want to, like, add the caveat of, like, but I had the choice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I guess, like, if I had to end this segment with a little advice or a little softness to current students, I would say be gentle with yourselves. You've been unmet with very harsh circumstances. Make sure that you are filling your cup with activities that can nourish you independently of what you're provided for by the uni. Because I think, like, my second, like, so let's say my third year experience when I got really heavily involved with tarot and spirituality, was different to my first year experience because I had a hobby, you know, and like having something that you can delve into, lose your mind into, unfortunately in the confines of your home, or like something that has limited space because obviously we can't move, we're all staying home, etc. That really helped me, you know, it really helps me. So I would definitely advise people to hopefully find a hobby that can fill their cup, that doesn't mean that they have to leave very far, you know. That's a really, really lovely bit of advice. I wish I'd heard that when I started uni. No, do you know what I mean? I wish I had me and you when we started uni. But, no, honestly, do you have any advice that you would leave listeners with?
I guess
or
on a very
students.
So future students or current students, wherever you're at, I think. One, structure helps, and I haven't said that, I'm kind of throwing in that curveball, but structure helps, especially in a time that feels very unstructured. Even just implementing a time that you might have breakfast, lunch and dinner and sticking to those times can help so much. And two, just because you're not having the best time right now doesn't mean that you won't have the best time in weeks, months, years to come. Freshers is not the be all and end all. I know it's hard, but trust me, this is not the end of your story. You've still got so much more joy and laughter and stuff to come, and you'll look back on this, and there will be, you know, low times, but you'll probably also find that there were some times in there that you wouldn't change in a weird way.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the thing. I think, like, you know me, and like I've been quite honest with my uni experience not being quite a good one, but one thing that I've taken from it definitely is trust your intuition. Take your interest, harness that intuition so much, because there's been so many times I was at uni that, like, nah, I'm not about this, you know, but I was like, oh, nah. Like, it could be my own condition. It could be my own worry. Was it not my intuition trying to save me?
Exactly. So, exactly. There we go, Sarah. You even though, like you said, you're having a bit of a tough time, you've managed to look back and, like, pluck something from that and be like, do you know what? Yeah, it was a rough time, but I've still learned something from it that I'm going to apply to help me in the future. So, yeah, I hope that all the students, future, current, whatever, can do the same.
No, for sure. I'm currently burning some tarots. Do you know what that means, Joe?
I do not. What does burning the tarots mean?
Reading.
Well, hey!
I'm burning some incense. Did I say tarot? Oh, I meant to say incense.
I was thinking, Sarah, don't burn the tarot cards.
Can you imagine? Sarah, I know you love these.
That's my future there. Stop burning it.
No, I burn some incense and I burn some sage to sort of cleanse any energies, any outdated thoughts, any stalled thought patterns in our environment, in our minds. Cleanse that space so we can provide it with clear space and clear intentions.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, there's so much history surrounding sage. Like, I definitely want to, like, read more into it because it's, like, a very ritualistic thing, you know? Have you ever had a tarot reading before?
You know, you gave me a tarot reading, I think about over a year ago now. It was, like, the summer of 2019.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I have vague memories. And I remember there was one point that I was going through something like a couple of months later and I was like, Sarah's tarot's warned me this.
Oh my God, really? Oh,
yeah.
That's crazy. No, that's crazy.
It was funny. I had like this moment of like reflection where I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it was all in the tarot.
Right. It was all in the tarot.
No, amazing. So, for Tarot Talks today, I'm going to do a new reading. And the new reading is called A Peek into the Future. So, it's 3 cards. The first card will be the current situation. The second card will be the past or what is already there. And the third card is for future or something new to be taken into account. And I think this will be really helpful for our Save the Student episode because we want to talk about things that we can bring into new parts of our lives. So, Spirit, higher power, spirit guide, spirit team, please can I have some guidance whilst I do this reading? Help me communicate for these cards. Yeah. Just shuffling now. Ooh.
Runaway card. Oh no, what does that say?
So this is the first card. I'm going to ask you, tell me when to stop shuffling, okay?
Okay. Now.
Okay. Okay.
Should I do the Oh, God, they're jumping out, aren't they?
What do you mean?
My cards are I've got a clear future.
No, I love it though because it's like we've got so much practical energy and so much like motivation, momentum in these cards, and I'm so excited to talk to you about them.
Oh my gosh, I hope they're good.
Oh no, honey, don't you worry. There's no such thing as good and bad cards. Like, honestly, let's clear this up. There's no such thing as good and bad cards. Because at the end of the day, I can give you a reading, but it's what you do with this reading that's going to influence your life. You know?
Very true. Very true.
So, I'm going to get the spread up one more time. But no, I really like this reading from what I can see. I'm just trying to remember what things I said for the questions. Okay, sick. Right. So, for the current situation, you've got the Hierophant, right? Do you want to have a zoom into there? And then I'll show Joe into the card.
Okay.
So the Hierophant stands for traditional figures. It stands for counseling. It stands for spiritual development. It stands for karma. It stands for going up and learning about yourself in a very traditional or orthodox way. I think when you look at this card, there's a lot of like religious sort of archetypes in the image. Like, is there anything that sticks out to you in this image?
I guess kind of just like the presence of the main figure, you know, quite a lot of authority, I guess, or not authority, like just presence, you know.
Exactly that. It's like that authority, but you can see from his stature and the fact that he has a hand of peace symbol and he has a staff, he's coming with a different sort of motivation. Like, there's 2 figures at the bottom of the deck which are like presented as kneeling, so it's like they're coming as an offering to kneel and understand what Well, they're coming for counsel. They're coming for guidance. They're coming for a spiritual teaching. And when you get the Hierophant in your reading, it means like a life energy, like an overarching message that's going to come throughout your life. So there will be more. Then you'll learn about being the Hierophant more than this reading. It will come to you in uni, it will come to you in relationships. It's all about assessing what's your spiritual teaching from this experience. What is your understanding from this experience? So the fact that you've got it as your current situation means that you're being very reflective, you're being very considerate, and you're being very understanding of how different parts of the world can inform us to live, basically. And because there's a lot of red in this card, it's signifying to action to me. Like a lot of red is just popping out in this image. But I'm going to go to the next card and then I'm going to bring it back all full round. But the second card is called The Past and What Is Already There. And for 2 cards that popped out, one's called Temperance. I'll show you this one. And the other one is called 8 of Pentacles. Right.
Okay, so this is for my past, is it?
Yeah, this is for your past / what is already there.
Okay.
And for your past and already there, it talks about maintenance. It talks about personal development. When you talk about the 8 of Pentacles specifically, it's talking about mastering a craft, drive, determination, momentum. This individual has taken themselves independently to work on their own skill so that when it comes to the fruition of 9 or 10, it can be harvest effectively. It can be like it's even better than effective. It's like you'd use the sort of period of the 8 of Pentacles to hone your skill, but by 9 and 10 it's completed, it's bold, it's standing with confidence. You know, this is the behind the scenes work. But because Temperance has come with you, which is another major arcana, that is an overarching energy that suggests that the maintenance in your life or the maintenance in your well-being needs to also be accompanied by spirit to strengthen your spiritual and physical connection. I really, really, really like this image because you see this lady, right? Well, to be fair, then I don't know if they're a lady, they're an angel, right? It's not gender specific, but they've got red wings, they're bold, and their wings are greater than the image. So they have more power that is around them, within them, then that comes to the eye. You know, they've got a crown here that symbolizes their crown chakra, so they're open and they're active to listening to messages coming from spirit and connecting them to their higher self. But you see how there's this I'm dropping stuff. You see how there's this path here in the corner. That's like the path to freedom, that's the path to recovery. And yes, there might be trials and tribulations, but because you're recycling the energy of putting water into the earth and earth into the water, and you're sort of easing that flow of balance and patience with yourself and the things around you, it's going to help with the journey. Like, I think the fact that you've got those 2 cards together, like you literally said structure and you also said, and I talk about spirit, and it's like those 2 forces coming together to push you to making ideas or planting new seeds. And I say that because your last card is the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles, you see the heavens are gusting, they're like sort of like blowing a coin into your worldview. They're an idea, they might be a project, they might be a business expansion, it might be your friends wanting to work on a project or working in something with your health, your wealth, your career. All of these cards are positive, and they also suggest that there's a lot of big life energy of how you're working in the physical realm, because the Pentacles is all to do with earth, so it's tangible things. How am I planting these things in September and how they're going to come out later, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. This is a lot to do with like working hard and being practical and setting goals to reach those accomplishments because, well, I mean, you've got the Eight of Pentacles who's busy working alone, but you've also got all this red in this card, all this spirit in this card, all this action and manifestation energy. That's going to take a lot of motivation. It's going to take your will and your purpose to create, but also it means that you can use it as karmic lessons to birth something new.
Okay.
I like this.
Yeah. Okay, that's reassuring because I could see them jumping out, and I was like, oh gosh, there's some sort of energy in these cards.
No, they're really happy for you. I want to look more into this Hierophant energy, which was the first card, and it says, this is how you come to grasp the sense of life. What makes sense vitalizes the senses. Every person who reveals what is sacred is a spiritual teacher for everybody else. So maybe it's encouraging you to see that the key is in your hands with the world that you want to desire. The fact that you're being so open and sharing. Do you know what's coming through to me? You're going to help someone in your line of work, and it's going to... I think you're going to be the advisor, which is going to birth a project, and that's going to come after you've developed some spiritual practice. Because if the Hierophant has the key to the all knowledge, if he's sitting near the tree of life, then he's able to rejuvenate from a place which has no ego, it has no frustration or confliction. If it was upside down, I'd say like it's a false prophet. Or if it was upside down, I'd say the person has their head so much in their scripture they can't actually share it. So the fact that you've got maybe, I don't know, maybe someone's kind of come into your life, or you're going to be the person that comes into their life to help someone birth an idea that's going to bring motivation and sort of practical abundance to you. Because with all the Pentacles cards, because it's to do with Earth, their gardens, their like scenes are going to be a bit more fruitful.
I see.
Amazing.
Okay.
I love that.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
How does that feel?
It feels good, and it feels like there's elements of it that are kind of that I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that actually, and maybe I recognise that, but actually hearing it kind of out loud and seeing it in one place is like, oh yeah, like I can see how that would map on. So
amazing.
I guess kind of what I'm taking away from that is kind of just to kind of keep my motivation going and working towards these projects, and kind of like you were saying, kind of planting the seeds now that are going to help in the future.
For sure. Like, I'm just looking at the Temperance card again, and it says, we continue to experience purgatory, a process of refinement, as long as the right measure has not been found. And I think that just resonates with that whole thing of, yes, you've been a student, but now you are a teacher. And how am I going to use these lessons and plant seeds with this information that can bring me abundance? In whatever form. Is it a physical form? Is it a new dissertation? Is it a new study? Is it a new partnership? Is it a new expansion in relation to a work environment, or like a productive setting, That's how I think.
Okay. Oh, Sarah, thank you.
I really like that. It's given me a lot of like confidence to, even reading it to you, it's given me confidence in myself, because it's like, no, you keep on working hard, things will come to you, the heavens will give it to you.
Yeah. And I like what you were saying about the idea that, I'm not sure if I'm interpreting this correctly, but that idea of like, you will kind of stay in the same kind of circles until you find like the thing that's, effective in helping you break out of that cycle. Yeah. The idea of staying in purgatory, going around until actually you kind of find what works and helps you to move forward. So, yeah.
No, honestly,
I guess we're kind of always in that state.
That's really great. No, I love this. I'll take a picture of these, and I'll send them to you as well. So then you can have a little look at home and just see how it resonates with you on a more personal level.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, that brings us to the end which actually, oh no, it doesn't bring us to the end. It brings us to our last segment. Let's bring us to the last segment. So the last segment is the direct message, and this is a little take-home message that you want to give listeners of the show. So what would you like to leave listeners with, Joe?
Oh, that's a really good question. I guess kind of just reflecting on what I was saying kind of throughout is that like at the moment things are so strange and things can feel really, really difficult. And I think it can be so easy to kind of think that whatever state we're in now will last forever. Yeah. And that's unfortunately in some ways and fortunately in other ways, that's not the way that the world works. So I think, be it as a student, be it as anyone in life, if you're having a hard time right now, know that things change and you will get to a place where you're able to reflect on this situation and be like, yeah, you know, what have I taken away from that? So please just kind of hold that hope for yourself and know that things will get better and be okay.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, you're so right, and everything is temporary, but when we're living in a world which is so harsh and so loud sometimes, it doesn't feel like it. So that's a great message. I think my direct message for this week is that maintenance looks different to everyone. So make sure that you are hitting your targets accordingly. I say this because I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to do these goals, try and do these goals, and they can get upset that I've missed these goals. But if I just made my goals in a more Sarah way, I'd make them. So let's say I love to-do lists, I love prioritizing my do list. However, if I do a work structure or a work schedule that way, compared if I was doing it in a way that was advised to me, I tell you, I'm going to do it faster that way. So definitely maintenance looks different to everyone. So make sure that you're hitting your targets effectively or accordingly. That's my message.
Sarah, I love that.
This has been a lovely episode, Joe. Thank you.
It has been so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Please, could you leave listeners with where to find you if you have like socials and stuff?
Oh, I mean, I don't actually have socials.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have socials?
For contacting? No, not for contacting.
I got you on your work email. So like,
literally,
if you want to see Joe, I guess you're gonna have to chat to me, and then I'll be like, I can set you up with Joe, but that's it. My honey's
go through my PA.
Yeah, I'm your PA. So if you want more of Joe's content, then you just have to like tell us what you wanna ask Joe to talk about, and we can do some more episodes and stuff. Just chat shit. We are the content. We've been doing content literally since we were 6.
Literally, oh my gosh, that makes me I was like, God, I am old. That made me feel. What are your socials? I don't have socials. Like, I have socials, but like, unless you want to see me eating a cheesecake on a Sunday, then you're not going to want to follow my socials.
Well, you didn't know. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for having. I was about to say for having me. Oh my God.
Sarah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I've enjoyed you so much. You've been amazing. Yeah, it's been great. We're saving the student, and hopefully this message can go on to more people. I've been your host, Sarah. This has been your favourite wellbeing podcast, DM Talks. And yeah, follow us on Instagram, dm.talks. What else do you have to follow us on? Goodgoodgood_media. Please also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because we're trying to, showcase this message, showcase this good light to more people. And that's going to happen through Apple Podcasts, so do it. Besides that, I don't think there's anything else to say. But see you guys later then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.